Today we're gonna review another detailer's mobile rig. I'll show you what they have, what they're using, give you some pointers along the way. And remember, I'm not here to bash anyone, I'm just here to showcase their rig, and hopefully you can use it as some inspiration, motivation, or just take a little bit of advice and implement it into your mobile rig. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's start off with a bit of context on Chris, his build, and give you some more background on this one. So this is actually his second build. I'm basically gonna read what he said. It's a self-sufficient mobile setup. It has a 200-gallon water tank. It has an onboard water deionizers. It has a vacuum, which is on a remote, so that's pretty cool. He has an extractor, a steamer, and other equipment. There is a 100-foot pressure washer hose, a 100-foot air hose, a 50-foot vacuum hose. All of those, I believe, are on reels. There's also a 48-inch pull-out work surface in the rear to use as a work table. He has a bunch of drawers and cabinets, and he runs all of his machines off of a Predator 9000 generator, which has a 30-amp pigtail, providing power outlets to the side of the door. Now let's go to the actual back side of the rig, and you can tell it's pretty professional looking. One thing I'm gonna say for just about every other build that I see is that they always look way better than ours. I mean, this one looks 10 times, 100 times better than our rig, as far as like how it's laid out. And so like this looks very, very professional. So any person that sees this is gonna be like, whoa, this person is professional. So kudos to that for sure. So now let's take a look on each of the doors. There are some holders for some bottles, that's fine. Here is where he's talking about all the drawers. I don't know if he built that or if it's a brand, but he has a lot of space to put in there. There's his ginormous generator. You have your air compressor, your pressure washer, your massive hose reels, because it's holding 100 feet of hose. You have your deionized water filter over here on the left side. You have your foam cannon at the top. So overall, it looks very, very, very professional. Let's see if we can see another angle. Yeah, so this one is with the drawers out. Now, one thing I'll already point out here is, and we also did this with our van, where at least for us, because we have a shop, or not even because we have a shop, but just because you want to optimize the van, is we don't hold anything as far as inventory in the van. We only carry what we need, and then like maybe like extra to fill up what we need. So for instance, like all these pads here, or the cloths, unless you use them on a daily basis, this is just space that you're using for inventory. So instead, like you can remove like 80% of these and like keep them at your home or something in your garage, and then only replenish when you need them. But instead of like just holding inventory, like put something else there. When me and Lex, we were like, hey, like let's go clean up the van. We removed a lot of things of like after a few months of using the van, we were like, yeah, why are we carrying all this? Like we need them when we need them, but that isn't often. Like instead, let's just keep it in the garage, and like once a month, we'll see if we need to like change them out, and if we do, we'll just change it then. For anyone building out the rig, like have that mentality with anything. Like, do you really need to carry like the 3 gallons of whatever, or just 1 gallon, and then when you need a refill, just do that before you leave your house. So just kind of think about it in that way. Like, do you really need to carry inventory versus just what you need? Oh, and by the way, if you want to start your detailing business, click the link down below and download the ultimate guide to start your detailing business. There's over 10,000 words of content in that guide. I put a lot of work into it. Click the link down below, download it, and let's get back to the video. Another thing that I would point out too is, again, not for this build, just in general, is that like, do you really need 100 feet of hose, right? Like for us on the 50, we have a 50-foot hose on our pressure washer and vacuum, and air hose. For us, in terms of like how the mobile jobs that we do and like how our city's set up and like where we end up, 50 feet has always been more than enough. It's maybe been a few rare times where 50 feet almost didn't reach the vehicle. Other than that, we've never had to push over 50 feet. Now, does that give you more flexibility? It does if you have 100 feet, but remember, like if I believe one of his other hoses, his vacuum hose is 50 feet. So even though, let's say, that the 100-foot air hose and pressure washer works good, it's 100 feet, you're still limited by your 50-foot air hose, right? So I would recommend it, like if you don't need that much length, if you're trying to, on a budget and you want to kind of like see where you can save money, you probably don't need 100 feet. Again, just depends on your area. There are some areas where if you know you're doing like fleets, or you're in a, like, just if you know your city and you've been doing mobile details for a while, you'll know if you need like a longer hose or not. But it's just something to think about. Everything else is great here. On here you have your wheel brushes. For us, we just keep everything in a bucket. So when we have to clean the wheels, instead of individually grabbing brushes, we just grab our bucket filled with all the brushes and just take it out to the vehicle. Not a big deal. Now going to the next photo here, you can see what he talked about, the 48-inch pull-out table they can use. Now, the only downside to this, right, is when you have your generator running, right? That already you have the fumes coming to the outside, so you're not gonna work on the side of the generator because the heat's gonna hit you and you're gonna be smelling all that, all the what's called the fumes, right? So you would work on the left side. But now, if you are doing like an interior job and you're like, okay, let me go work on the floor mats on the table, you have the generator running, you have the air compressor running, you have maybe the vacuum running. So like you are right next to just this like loud noise, and like you're trying to work, and then you might have like the drill gun going, you might have the extractor going, and you're just like bombarded with all this rattling noise, and it gets very annoying. So although it is great, that's just one downside, is if you have all the machines going, you're just like, oh, it's like so annoying. Like, so you have a 200-gallon water tank. Again, you really have to know your business, right, and what you do. If you just immediately start off and buy a big water tank, then you might be assuming you need more water than you don't. So for us, in the caravan mobile rig that we had, we carried a 55-gallon drum. And then when we upgraded to the ProMaster, we carry now a 100-gallon water tank. And for us, that's more than enough. So is 200 a lot? Well, if you do a lot of washes, if you just simply hate filling up the water tank and you just want to have one big one to not have to fill it up over and over, okay, that's fine. But it's more so of like, don't think just you need the absolute biggest water tank. It's really dependent, again, on your business, on your volume, on the type of vehicles that you service, on the services itself of what you offer. So for me, I would say like 200 gallons, that would be major overkill for us. And on top of that as well, like it's taking up a lot of space, which could be annoying, right? Like one, it just, the space wise, right? Well, one, the container itself is gonna be more expensive. But then two, you're just taking up real estate that, like out of that 200 gallons of water tank, do you fill everything up to 180 every single time, right? Or are you typically keeping it like around 100 gallons? Because if that's what you're doing, then you can just drop to like a 100-gallon water tank and keep it at like 80 gallons of water, and you're just saving space, saving the weight that you're putting on your suspension. So that's why I wouldn't immediately jump to like the biggest water tank. So for like here, he has his brushes up here. It even says interior. How cool is that? For us, we literally just have like a plastic container box, and we have all our brushes there. Let's keep on going here. So another thing I would recommend actually is, if you go back to the other photos here, is the air compressor. So for me, like if I'm looking at this, like I would rather, and I'm assuming that, is that like a Craftsman pancake one? So what I would do is I would actually like drop down the water tank, get more space, or not even that. I would just upgrade the air compressor. The one that we use is that rigid, whatever gallon size. That one is fantastic. That's the one that we have in our mobile van, and that's like the most popular option for mobile detailers. We also have a California Air Tools in 105, and we have a DeWalt 17-gallon in unit 104. But for the mobile air compressor, it works absolutely fine. It's like $239, I think, and it works great. So on this one as well, like when I'm looking at the extractor, I don't know which extractor that is. Is that like an S300, I think? But with that one, like I would rather, again, it gets annoying pulling in, pulling out, pause the extractor over and over. So to me, like if with this kind of build, it would kind of make sense to like get an extractor that you could put it on the reel as well, just because you have everything else on the reel. It's like a fantastic build itself, right? And like you're already putting in the money. So like if it makes sense, because like even Lex and I, when we bought the HP60 Spider, I think it was like 2 days that we like took it in and out of the van. And after that, we were like, we're not doing this. Like, we're not gonna do this every single day. Like, we're not gonna do this every single day, 2-3 times out of the day. Like, it's just too much work. It's too much of a hassle. So which is why we upgraded and put it on a hose reel, because we were like, this is way more efficient than, not even just efficient, but it's much less annoying and cumbersome than taking out the extractor, especially when it's completely filled with water. It's pretty heavy. So that's why we put it on a reel. And yes, it's more work, it's more costly, but like, given his build, which is like an amazing build, it's like, you might as well just go ahead and put it like on a reel as well, which is like upgrade the extractor. You already have a big generator. So it's like maybe like shrink down the water tank, upgrade the extractor, put that on the reel, and then just now you have everything on a reel. But overall, this is a fantastic build. I mean, one thing I always recommend overall is like, you'll know what to upgrade or what to change or what to like, you know, improve on as you keep on working with your van, right? Like if you're just getting started or you just purchased a van, like you will change up how it's laid out, just because as you get more experience, you'll understand, oh, okay, like it would make more sense to put it here because when I work, you know, this, that. So always have that mindset of like, what can I improve? But the improvement only comes after actually working in the field with the mobile rig. Like you can make as many assumptions as you want of, oh, this would be the best way, but until you actually get out there and actually work with it, you're only making assumptions. So I'll end it right here. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you on the next one.